60 years ago today, 60 years ago today, if you were around, and even if you weren't, 60 years ago today was the biggest red pill moment ever. But you would never know that by looking around the news today. Okay? JFK, if I look at JFK assassination, just how JFK's assassination changed Dallas forever. This is Axios. Changed Dallas? AP. 60 years after JFK's death, today's Kennedys choose other paths to public service. Death? Fox News finds it right. JFK assassination. 60 years later, we know the truth about the real killer. Wait, I didn't see this one. Who is that? The Warren Report is behind an enduring legacy of mistrust. Okay. Yeah, Bobby Kennedy. Okay, good luck. Good luck with that one. Nobody's going to say anything about the real truth. NPR, 60 years after JFK's assassination, the agent who tried to save him. If I hear this one more time, I'm going to go. Photos after JFK shock the nation. The nation mourns. You hear what they do? You see what they do? They don't want you to even approximate what really happened. This was a hit, a coup. This was the biggest story of them all. Do you understand what I am saying? It is the biggest story ever. We start with this. And everything is an asterisk, is an afterthought, and nobody still knows. Nobody cares. And you have these, and I'm not going to mention them, these scholars who will go into minutia and explain to you the guy who investigated Tippit and Marina Oswald, the woman who provided the house was an agent in the CIA. But what does this mean? Who pulled the trigger? Who said go? Who? Not a clue. Oh, we talk about some. And then you have internecine battles among the biographers. You know, you've got the Posner set, who is just, it's kind of clever. No, I believe the Warren Commission. Okay, that's great. And then you have others who talk about, like Bobby Kennedy, the CIA in general. Okay, fine, the dullest. Who did it? Who pulled the trigger? Who was responsible? Who act? What was it? Lucien Sarti. You can bring up, Woody Harrelson's father. Who did it? Who said okay? And we'll never really know. But there's this. And this is so interesting. There is a fight now for who can sell more books and who knows more. Again, minutia. Who knows more about the caliber counts and the fact that it was. And we can go through all of this stuff if you want. And then when we do this, we lose sight of the big picture. We lose sight of what it really was. I don't want anybody to ever say, that was before my time. I've actually heard this. People suggesting that history was before your time. And they give this as a reason. Don't make me angry. Don't make me sick. Okay? Let me just tell you something right off the bat. Listen carefully. This is the day where everybody should stop and say, holy, how did this happen? And how is it that we still know nothing? We're going to talk about that, my friends. Get ready and do me a favor. Today, I want all of the morning chat, all of this, to focus on this. Get the hi, how are yous out of the way, and let's talk about this. We never seem to use our chat format to really get down to discussing the issues. We're often running. We have the usual suspects who come in and bleat and bray about that something that has nothing to do, just to say, look at me. But today, if there is a God, in his memory, in his honor, please let's focus today's morning live stream on this and stop this ceremonial performance bullshit that we go through every single day. I'm sorry, that just wastes everybody's time. I've heard more people say, what do they talk about? I said, I don't know. Today, please, let's try something. Think of this as a class for the intelligent, the focus. We're supposed to be better than the rest. By God, let's act like the rest. Let's show discipline in today's discussion. Okay, so like the video, subscribe to the channel, but listen first to these guys. Patriot, the world at every level and facet is in peril. Everything has changed. The Great Reset is here. Just look around you. You must become more self-reliant and sufficient and secure the future for your family. Act today with My Patriot Supply. My Patriot Supply is the country's largest preparedness company, and it's more than equipped to stock your shelf. Their best-selling 3-month emergency food kit provides delicious breakfast, lunches, and dinners that last up to 25 years in storage. And right now, listen carefully, it's $200 off. That's right. Get over 2,000 calories every day. Just add water and heat, then eat. Make sure every member of your family has a 3-month food kit from My Patriot Supply. Go right now to my special website at preparewithlionel.com, preparewithlionel.com for $200 in savings. Be sure to order by 3 p.m. for free same-day shipping. It's best to have emergency food and not need it than to need it and not have it. Take $200 off right now at preparewithlionel.com, preparewithlionel.com. Write this down, commit it to memory, preparewithlionel.com. All right, my friends, let us do this morning. Let us try something different. I'm going to try a little bit of more of a control over this. I love you. Don't get me wrong, but we have to focus. Please don't take this the wrong way. I think I speak for a lot of others because I've talked to other co-creators and they say the same thing. Chats have become flypaper for the lonely. People who have nothing to say, people who I think just like to come forward and say, I'm having a colonoscopy today. Hey, June. Hey, Eddie. 60 years ago today, the most incredible, the most monumental event ever. And these people who just say stuff. It's the oil people. Stop it. Sentences, real sentences. Think. No, how do I say this? No bumper sticker stuff. No cookie cutter. Think about this. Now, do me a favor. Think about this. Now, we're going to do, somebody says, the magic bullet was found in the limo behind JFK, not on a gurney. That's not what we're going to talk about. We're going to talk about the big picture. Not the fact that, it said Mauser, not Manica Garcano. No, that's how people think that they're doing something. They think they substitute that for knowledge. That's trivia. It's trivia. Think about it. Look at what the reaction is today. 60 years ago. I know this isn't going to work, by the way. I'm just telling you. I know this. And it's not you. It's not you because it's not your fault. It's not your fault. It really isn't your fault. It's just, you know what I'm going to do? This is what I'm going to do. This helps me greatly. I'm just going to turn there. I don't read the comments. The comments are wonderful, but they are so, I think to myself, I'm such a failure at this. Such utter bullshit. Such yammering. It's like a coffee clutch. It's nice, but it's like, what am I doing? So I'm just going to turn them off and just proceed forward. I think I'd be better off. I think I'd feel better. I don't understand this. I just don't, because no matter where I go, whether it's Ukraine, whether it's Israel, I've got to find, where are the adults? Where are the ones who get this? There's one guy in particular. I'm not going to mention his name. He is the biggest horse's ass. He thinks he knows everything, and he's into minutia. He's into trivia. He's into stuff that just doesn't matter. And he wants to show you that he's researched more. He knows more. He knows more than the other guys. And they have these, it might be today, these, the Cyril Wecht groups and this, and they get around and it's just this mental masturbation. It's this nothing. And they miss the point. And the real assassins, if you could bring in, if somehow they would be alive, but they're not, but the real assassins, if they could move in and sit, do you know what they would say? Do you know what they would do if they would say, I can't believe this. What are these people talking about? So, oh, that's nothing. Look at the chat rooms. What's that? I don't know. I have no earthly idea. None. No idea. No idea how this even remotely works. This would be you would think this would have people the most angry, the most furious. You would think it would pull together the most enlivened, the most monumentally focused people in the world, and it doesn't. It's bullshit. I sound like Howard Beale. We are immersed in it everywhere we go. There's not one subject. Israel, Palestine, nothing. We're not getting it. We don't know it. And it's partly to do with the fact that people don't know, partly to do, I think, with the behavioral characteristics of a lot of us. And frankly, it has a lot to do with the fact that there's no curiosity. There's no ability to critically think. There's no, oh, what's the word? There's no critical thinking, but there's no love of intrigue, of understanding. I was watching this very good, The Rising. Boy, I'll tell you what, the show's really taking a turn. There's this one called Breaking Point or something with Sagar and Crystal Ball. Oh, Crystal sounds like a 12-year-old. Oh, get rid of it. Brianna and what's his name? And they were talking about, with Jeffrey Sachs, about the intricacies of the Nord Stream, what am I trying to say? The Nord Stream sabotage. Some of the best stuff ever. You will hear nowhere. And it was brilliant. They're good, really good. They get the right people and the right focus on the right things. And this is so important. This is the most solemn of subjects. I'll bet you anything. I will bet you that if we had, and I mean this, if we just had a nuclear bomb detonated somewhere, God forbid, can you imagine what the chat would be the next day? Hey, Dave. Hey, Buzz. Do you know what happened? Boom. And there'd be, I'm getting a corn dog today. What is this? I don't know what one day we're going to find out. We're going to ask people, when you came up with social media, when you developers first came up with this, what was your latest, what was your biggest surprise later on? What was it? And people will say how it unleashed in people a sense of disconnect, how it unraveled a level of disconnect we never thought even remotely possible. Never thought. I mean, yeah, we thought, okay, bring people together, but it did something where it just kind of, it's like when you give a baby's crying and you give them those little keys. Remember those plastic keys, Fisher Price, and that's it. I've never seen anything like it. 60 years ago today, in front of everybody, on a day that just, I mean, it's sunny and it just stopped raining, and oh my God, there he was as they spoke. They tried to hit him 3, maybe 4 times that week. I think Tampa, Chicago, others. Didn't work. They were going to get him no matter what. They had the team in place, ready to go. This was the 3rd or the 4th time, I think, that day things kept just going wrong. And there he was. And they were getting their stuff. And they're checking their rifles and cleaning their positions and making sure they meet. And they met at the safe house. And then they moved. And then they took positions. And they waited again after the training. They didn't have walkie-talkies, but they had They were positioning, ready to go. Let's see if it works this time. And there were assassins ready to go on that date. I don't know if they had any idea of where the orders were coming from. If they were military is always the best because military takes orders. Remember, this was post World War II. Everybody there that day, all of the men that you saw in Dallas that day, all had been in one form or another World War II. They knew the sound of shots. They knew how to watch how they hit the ground. It's funny, their military kicked in. It was something. All of this, when you're seeing this Zapruder film, which was not aired until 1970, whatever, during the Geraldo Rivera Goodnight America show, nobody ever saw this. The first time, they could not believe what was happening. Raul says, social media broadened my scope on humanity. Social media can be great. Social media can be terrific. I'll tell you what, Raul, it's just, and by the way, thank you. It's just like, for example, the person who invented in essence, morphine. I'm sure they said, this is great for an analgesic. Whoever thought that there would be some kind of an addiction vortex that we're going to be seeing? But listen to what I'm saying. You're not going to be hearing this today. You're going to be seeing the most milquetoast. It's like, hi, 60 years ago today. How was this changed to Dallas? And you're going to see these children who are, how am I doing makeup during the break? A little touch up. Okay, Brianna, whatever. Okay, a little touch up there. Okay, there we go. Okay, 5 seconds. Okay, that's it. Typical TV. TV can take anything and destroy it. Think about when you see those cars, when you see him getting off of the plane, the assassins are there. They're ready to go. They're ready. This was a triangulation. They're ready to go. Think about this. Assassins. This is in the open. They were so brazen. Can you imagine sitting there next to somebody going, hey, there's a guy just shot somebody. A rifle? A loud rifle? Grassy knoll elsewhere. It was a triangulation. No pictures. Here's the question. We laugh about social media. Imagine if everybody had some kind of. How do you think if there were people today with cameras? What do you think? What do you think, Raul? What do you think? The hardest thing is to have hope when your world is falling apart around you. That's true. That's true. Thumbs up democracy. This is not a democracy. That was good, though. Remember, we're not a democracy. Don't say this. We are not a democracy. We are a republic. There is a big difference. Democracy is tyranny by the majority. I think it's time for them to just admit they murdered JFK, RFK, and RFK Jr. gets to be president now as reparations. No, that's nice. That's cute. Bobby Kennedy Jr. is never going to be president. And by the way, the good news is, I think he's safe. Nobody wants to do anything to him. Nobody. Those days are over. No, I don't think he has anything to worry about. Sorry, those days are over. And one of the reasons why is because what if we had phones? What if we had phones? If we had phones, what if you might be thinking, imagine 30 different shots. But let me give you an example. There was, and by the way, some of these are very good now. He can continue what was cut short. He's not going to continue anything. Bobby Kennedy Jr. is already doomed. He's aligned himself with Israel. That ain't going to happen among his crew. Number two, he's taken such a strong stance on vaccines, which may or may not make sense, and that's going to kill him also with the left. He's just going to draw Trump points from Trump. That's it. You understand something? Bobby Kennedy Jr. is a joke. He's nice. It's fun. He's it's like he's like the libertarian. When you don't know what to do, you say, oh, and at first he sounded so great. And then I realized, oh, shit. Just like everybody else. And I'm telling you, that you have no earthly idea the calculus, the change that Palestine has changed in this whole thing. Not a clue. Nobody even remotely has any idea where this is going on. Nobody has anything. This was a coup d'etat in its own right. It was something that was done at a time, and I want you to think about it, where nobody even remotely cared. They never caught one assassin. Let me say this again. They never caught one assassin in the open. Let me try this again, where people can tackle and people can, they had cameras or other people. They never got one of them. Nobody's rifle jammed. Nobody was hit by brass. Nobody said, hey, there's that guy. There wasn't a crowd. There wasn't a mob. There wasn't how a bunch of ex-military happened to be there and say, they just killed our president. None of it happened. Nothing happened. And they also can hide the truth from you. And the stuff which is the most important, the most critical, you don't have to be. And by the way, they started the conspiracy theory. The conspiracy theory. And by the way, focus on the evidence, not the trivial, not the other stuff, not the, George Bush was there that day. You ever notice how George Bush is always having breakfast with somebody? Though whenever Reagan shot, somebody's meeting with Hinckley's brother. It's always these tangential breakfasts and lunches and all these meetings that are going on. That doesn't. Here's the best part. Here is one of the best parts. If ever you want to ask, this is the part that you would think somebody would say, wait a minute. While it's fresh, not later, and nobody knew at the time, because remember, LGBJ's rule was to shut down the entire event. Imagine this. This is the windshield, okay? This is my plastic cover. This is the windshield. It's going this way, okay? Here's the car. It's going this way. It's moving forward. Behind here, this is our friend Lee Harvey Oswald. Greatest marksman, makes Carlos Hathcock look like he's half-cocked. Got it? Okay, here we go. This is where the shots are going. Got it? Moving this way. There's a bullet this way through the windshield. Stop. And if I recall correctly, and I'm not pointing out I'm not trying to point out things just to say, well, I know this fact. No, this is important. There might have been a little dent at the top of it as well. Might have been 2 shots. Why is that important? Let me tell you why that is important. Listen to me, dear friend. Listen to me, and I will tell you. They immediately removed the windshield, the windscreen, sent it to the Dearborn factory or whatever to have it fixed. I don't even know what to tell you. This is the evidence of the front of another of this is the conspiracy. Stop right there. That might be the most important. That's the most important. Everything else is like, you can argue. They cleaned the car, the Deathmobile, immediately after. They cleaned it right away. They cleaned it. What are you doing? They cleaned it. They cleaned it. They had water and buckets, and that's blood and fragmented tissue. Don't give me this bullshit about, we didn't have Quincy. You didn't have Quincy. You don't clean a crime scene. They had tape then. You take that, and they left it out there. Did you see that? There's the car. Somebody could have flicked it. Today you would have seen, selfie shots with the blood and the bloodied flowers. They left it in the open. Contaminate the scene as much as possible. You can say, somebody made a mistake. Somebody made a mistake. It's the most incredible thing in the world. Who's talking about this? Because you're a conspiracy theorist. You're a conspiracy theorist. You're a conspiracy theorist. Do you not know what I'm saying? Do you understand this? They're all. This is these are. This is it. They came up with this in 19 the famous directive from the CIA that weaponized the term conspiracy theory. Do you remember this? Of course you do. Of course you do. Of course you do. It's the most important thing in the world. What they did was they realized is that we've got all of these people. We've got these crazy, stupid people out there who are going to be asking questions. So let's take this notion called conspiracy theory and let's fix it. Let's weaponize it so that people who say this are conspiracy theorists are lunatics. And let's also create the idea that something like this would have required so many people acting simultaneously that they would have been necessarily, and this is important, that they would have been necessarily, all these people, they would have been necessarily unable to keep it quiet because people, as you know, have to speak with other people. This is the way people think. This is the way people think. It's the most incredible thing in the world. It's the most incredible. It is. I don't even know what to say. Dear Heavenly Father, this is the most important thing in the world. And nobody today, especially those idiots, Fox News, Newsmax, all these twits, who are these people? Because they don't want to get there. And they don't want the highest levels of the shadow government, deep state, police state, intel state, ruling class. They want to shut down anybody who dares to come forward and bring up some fact that compounds the iteration of the notion that there is a subversive, there is a second part, there are many, many levels and tiers to our what am I trying to say? That there are many, many levels and tiers to our perfidy, you know. They just want you to say, don't think about conspiracy theory. Next, move along. The most corrupt, evil, criminal president in our life. Now listen to me carefully. Listen to me like you've never listened. Stop for a second. The most gangster president is Joe Biden. But the most evil, murderous, rapacious, dangerous is LBJ. Joe Biden's a thug. He's just a thug. He's one of these people that's just like I don't know. Because he couldn't even wait to get out of office before he did all this stuff with Hunter. That's the most important thing in the world. But LBJ is like nobody's business. LBJ is like nobody else's business. LBJ is the worst of the worst of the worst of the worst. This was an inside job. You want to talk about an inside job? And the best part about it is that don't let people know. You can call it plausible deniability all you want. Don't let people know. Don't ever. But if all of a sudden on 9/11, I am telling you right now, George W. Bush knew nothing about it. I don't think he was surprised, but I do not believe there was ever any evidence available or evidence that would make sense where he or Cheney or anybody would have even remotely been. They would have been so insulted. Get away. So all of the inside jobbers and all of those folks forget how things are worked. The minimum number of people who know. And by the way, I'm just going to leave it at that. We're not going to talk about that now because nobody really wants to talk about that, but that's okay. They want to talk about UBL and TikTok, but that's about it. We're talking about something which is beyond anything we have ever seen. Do you grasp what I'm saying? Do you see? Do you feel? Do you understand what I'm saying? You don't want, LBJ would have known nothing about this, nothing. If you had to pick the guy that I would have said, I'm going to grill, I'm going to keep on the stand, I'm going to put into custody, I'm going to to give the third degree to, the one guy that I would talk to. The rest you can excuse. But the one guy, Allen Dulles, CIA #1, but not just CIA. There was a time, there was an effort, there were groups of people with a mindset post World War II, post OSS, post all of these people who America was never at its height. We stood down the Russians. We've got more we got the biggest and baddest nuclear bombs. Our intel structure. We are invincible. And Dulles thinks he can do anything. That's the main guy. I'm not saying everybody else you can forget. LBJ, Mac Wallace. I love that one. Mac Wallace. Okay, Mac Wallace was a scumbag, but no. This is a guy who gets up in the morning, he wants coups. From Ajax in Iran, Mossadegh, Arbenz to was it Lumumba, and this was the mindset. Always go to the mindset, to the way people think. Understand you have to, years from now, when they look back and they try to figure out Bill Gates, they're going to say, you must understand the way Bill Gates is. Little side note, do you know the story? I don't waste my time with this here. I don't think you're going to like this one, but the Sam Altman story is so huge. Okay? Absolutely, positively, the most important thing in the world. This is the biggest story ever. Do you know that when Sam Altman decided to come along and he said, I'm gonna kind of do this thing and I need some money. They opened up the purses and Microsoft threw $1 billion here. But this money did not exist by proportion or whatever at any time before. The Gilded Age does not exist. The Gilded Age. These people walk around in t-shirts. They all have the uniform of Silicon Valley. Notice that when they never have capital letters. They never have periods, no punctuation. They are part of a routinized group of people who are, this is who they are. And there is more money. JP Morgan, railroads, timber, gold. By the way, this is very interesting. By the way, Liz Sola, the Gilded Age, Mrs. L loves that. Watch that; it's very interesting. Just the costumes enough. Just a period piece. Here's a great question. Misinformed, oddly enough, writes, "Who is Allen Dulles today?" Don't even besmirch the name of Allen Dulles. One guy, and John Foster, his brother. Who today? Anthony Blinken, the Atlantic Council. We were in D.C. the other day. We saw there was an event for the Atlantic Council. Like, oh no, this is like the marketing side of the New World Order. As it was like, oh my God. Now there is no Allen Dulles. It's a different time. It's a very, very interesting. Let me give you an example of something. There right now is a plethora of mob shows. Okay, mob shows on internet. This guy, Michael Franzese, has said 3 things 12,000 different ways. Sammy the Bull. If I hear one more Roy DeMeo, one more Tony Mera story, it's 4 stories. Yeah, he's a rat. You're a rat. Well, Big Paulie. I mean, it's nice. It's interesting, but there's 4 stories. They don't know anything. It's the same circular stories over and over and over. Okay. Why am I bringing this up? The mob then was nothing like this. Nothing. The mob. Let me take you back for a moment. And I wish a lot of the folks who were doing these sit downs and all these podcasts, and I mean, it's just this secret society has about 12 different pockets in any event. By the way, we'll talk about that later. Okay. Post World War II. Stop for a second. Imagine I go out one night at a charity event and I go out and I engage in Mike Tyson in a celebrity kind of a sparring, and I beat the hell out of him and knock him out. Me. And they catch it on TV. I go out and I knocked out Mike Tyson. Now, granted, he's younger than me, but he's still Mike Tyson. I don't give a damn what anybody says. Do you know what that does to my ego? You know what that does to me? Everybody wants to know me. I'm on. Well, are you kidding? They would show that thing over and over and over again. But you know what that would do to me? I just knocked out Mike Tyson. It's kind of like Mark Zuckerberg. There's still this primordial male thing. Like I knocked out an ex-world champ. Okay. That's the United States after World War II. We kicked their ass. We came in within 4 years. We came in, remember, World War II was going on before. Hitler took over in 1933, right? So we came in later. 1939 was Poland. So we came in the back end, and we think we did. It was actually Russia, but we helped a lot. Remember that? It's shake and bake, and I helped. Remember that commercial? Anyway, we're like this. Intel, OSS became CIA in 1947. They're so big, CIA is saying, I'm a separate part of government. You don't understand this. I'm Alan Dulles. I just saved the world. We didn't save, we saved it with military, but I had all the insight. At that time, they were picking up the phone and they were saying, they were dealing with Johnny Roselli, and before that, Vito Genovese in Sicily. Remember in Sicily, Mafia, they were very, very patriotic. Oh, they did not countenance Hitler, not because they love this country, but because Mussolini threw out everybody in all the mob in Sicily, which, by the way, a lot of the Sicilians loved. Nobody wants to talk about that. And this is before Falcone and Borsellino, but anyway, obviously, but they got rid of all that. Same thing with Cuba. Remember when Castro came in, he got rid of Batista, and the mob hated that. So the mob hated Mussolini, and then later on hated Castro. Who were the people that were responsible for Sicily? Who knew it better? Vito Genovese, Vizzini, Cascioferro. There was another one there. These guys ran everything. They said, we can tell you, we can help you out. We'll have spies for you. We will run cover for you. We will run guns for you. We know we are with you. Alan Dulles says, work with them. But there's the mob. There's no such thing as the mob, you schmuck. This is World War II. The enemy of my enemy, you got that? We're friends. Do it. Vito Genovese, who was a monster. Remember that he had some woman he knew or was dating or loving? She was married to somebody, threw him off of a building. Next, anyway. Vito Genovese and others. So you got that mindset? You got that Dulles, post-OSS? You got it? We work with everybody. There's no such thing as the good guys, bad guys. We're in charge. I'm Alan Dulles. I can do whatever I want. I'm head of the CIA. You don't understand. I'm trying to save the world against communism and all these other people. We're going to be triumphant. This is not neocon, by the way. This is nothing to do with it. This is like power mad craziness. Let that sink in for a moment. Stop for a second. Stop. I want you to think about this. Remember, like these videos, like this channel. You're doing me. You know what? You're coming around. You're acting I'm very proud of you. You got the message. I like what you're saying. This is very good. See, I knew it. I knew it. And while you were taking this praise and adoration from me, listen to our very, very special client and our sponsor. Dark clouds are gathering as markets shudder. Stocks are sinking, currency stumbling, fear and uncertainty reign. The Middle East, Ukraine, Taiwan, the debt, it's endless. Yet one asset stands firm: gold. In crisis after crisis, gold is there in the background. Its enduring value guards against loss, like a missile shield against incoming. While paper wealth burns, gold persists. Shield your savings against looming threats: war, recession, contagion, and avoid the frenzied panic of the unprepared. Take control in the chaos. Fortune favors decisive action. Get hold of gold now before it's out of reach. And right now, Noble Gold Investments offers a free 5-ounce America the Beautiful coin with every new IRA. Claim your free coin today to secure your financial future. As this new storm gathers, panic looms. And some of the places you were thinking of for your money, well, they don't look so clever anymore. Secure your future against disaster now. Open a Noble Gold Investments IRA and claim your free bullion coin today. Go to LionelNationGold.com. That's LionelNationGold.com. LionelNationGold.com, the only gold company I trust. And remember, there's always a risk of investment and there's no guarantee of any kind. Got that? Okay. Hang on a minute. All right, my friends. Hang on a minute. I'll see this once now. Hang on a minute. Keep talking. Every now and then you got to remind folks. You always have to remind people. What do you do? What do we do? We got to do this now. Okay, let's do this. Follow along. All right, follow along. We're following along. All right, everybody's good. Okay, follow along. Stand by for a second. I want to bring this up to you, not because I want to be one of those people who I love history to an extent. You know, it's good, but sometimes it's kind of irrelevant. I know that may sound counterintuitive, but it's kind of irrelevant. But in any event, this is something. Imagine sitting with Greg Gutfeld, sitting across from Tommy Lahren, or who's your Candace Owens, anyone. I don't know. Imagine explaining this to them. Imagine this. It's a waste of time. Imagine saying you don't understand. It was just 60 years ago. It's nothing. Santo Trafficante, probably one of the most important unknown from this in Florida. Operation Mongoose with Castro, again, World War II. Dear God, it was another story. And Johnny Roselli, who was the liaison between the mob and doesn't exist today. Who do we have today? Look at the schmucks in Intel today. Nothing like this before. They're sloppy, but it's a different world. I mean, I can't say that enough to you. There was no China. China was not this. There was no Muslims and Arabs, and no, it was it was a unipolar world. And we were in a kind of a post-Cold War where it was Russia, but Russia was not even close to this. This was a different world then. Kennedy was still and the hubris. Let me tell you this again. They said, let's take this guy out in public. And they did. They did. And they said, yeah, but what happens if somebody gets caught? So what? Yeah, but what if they talk? They didn't care. All it takes is for somebody to shoot. Remember this guy, Lucien Sarti? They thought he might be Badge Man. This is a guy who loved frangible bullets, loved uniforms and disguises. Imagine somebody there, he's shooting, right? And all of a sudden, somebody comes behind him, and two veterans grab this guy with the gun right after he shoots and take him to the ground. Call the police, and they either beat the hell out of him or they question him. Or they pull a Francis Powers on him. Do you know what that would have done? They didn't care. They didn't care. They tried this 3 times. Chicago that week, I think Tampa, and they were ready to go. And supposedly they were ready to get him at a barbecue. They were taking this guy out. I want you to stop right there. Stop. Nothing about, well, we're going to have to, they had all the dirt on him you can imagine, with everybody from Marilyn Monroe to you name it. You name it. From that, who was that German? It was a German spy or something. Remember that? They didn't care. This is the thing. Dulles and these guys said, I don't care. And it's not beyond the realm of reason for Dulles to say, by the way, everybody okay? Yeah, I'll take care of it. Don't worry about it. The man lives in the world. William Casey was like that, by the way. In this world of cloak and dagger and spies, and they live in a world. There's always been, on the part of the, how do I say this? There has always been, on the part of leaders, a disdain, a distrust for the standing armies. Okay? And there's second to that only is the intel state. You understand it? Hillbilly says, I think Bobby got him killed. Let me tell you why that makes sense, but doesn't, but does. Bobby Kennedy, the father, was a jerk, a brutal, one would call him a prick. Okay? Look at Sparky. Go CIA and take the FBI with you. Bobby Kennedy Jr. was the worst. The worst. He was the one who basically took, when he deported Carlos Marcello, do you know the level of assistance that the mob then, Marcello, Trafficante, they remember what they did. They're connected, joined at the hip since World War II. There's a different world then. What are all these people? One of the most highly populated Sicilian groups, demographics, whatever in this country was New Orleans, and New Orleans controlled Dallas, and they have everybody from the Patsy. Oh my God, did they play him up? Lee Harvey Oswald and his uncle and everybody else from they all work. Marcello was in charge of everything. All these people that just now. Sparky brings up a good point. Do we need a CIA? Do we need an intel agency? Most definitely. Most definitely. That's the thing. Do we need troops? Do we need the police? Yes. Of course. Do we need the FBI, a national federal police agency? Yes. Who's gonna investigate what? Bank robberies, kidnappings, when they used to do this. Interstate. Who? Of course we do. So when you say get rid of the CIA, it's this CIA. Get rid of the FBI, it's this FBI. It's this iteration, this group of people. Okay? Imagine meeting JFK. Somehow, and this may be the most macabre, ghoulish thing, but imagine you meet him. Mr. President, did you have any idea something was going on? Nope. Believe me, I wouldn't have done this if I thought so. And there's some issue about who took the bubble down. We could talk about all this stuff. Was he in the front of the line versus the back? I don't know. Why did they put him in the front of the line? Remember that famous scene where and we can point to this all day long, and they have these endless people who they sit around, they just point these things out. But you've seen the one of the Secret Service agent being waved off. Sparky says, Bobby got nicer after JFK was assassinated. Before he lacked tact. Well, that's putting it mildly. Bobby was the one who insulted Frank Sinatra, Bobby may have been responsible. Some may have suggested, along with Peter Lawford, in the dispatch of Marilyn Monroe, because Marilyn Monroe was going to talk a lot of stuff. I think that's too sloppy. There was a discussion about Marilyn Monroe. Marilyn Monroe could not take pills. Her housekeeper said when they found this empty bottle of pills by her bed. Did you see that bedroom? It looked. I can't believe Marilyn Monroe lived there. Anyway, they found these pills by the bed, and they said, "How many? Well, her tox levels were. How many pills would that have been? Such and such." Her housekeeper said, "There's no way she could have done that because Marilyn Monroe could not even swallow a pill. There was no way she could have done this." Somebody suggested they might have introduced some type of overdose through an enema, through some type of rectal introduction. Could be. That is, of course, as you know, depending upon certain ways to administer drugs, suppositories work. That could have very well been. We don't know. Peter Lawford was a hack until they got rid of him. Could have been. Don't know. Somebody mentioned Dorothy Kilgallen. It sure looks weird, but there's no proof of anything. See, there's a difference between looking weird and others. But let me also tell you something. Listen to me very carefully. The zeitgeist, to use that wonderful term at the time, there is a group of people at the time who said we can do anything we want. Let me say this again, my friends. We can do anything we want. You understand? We can do anything we want. One of you, see, you're getting very good now. I like what I'm reading. So the CIA assassinates RFK and 78 witnesses and establishes control of the land of the free and the home of the brave. 60 years later, the truth still comes out. Really? You think so? I don't think so. The average American couldn't care less about this. Couldn't care less. Something happened to us. I have not a dream, but I have a movie. You know what my movie is? You're going to love this one. You ready for this? In my movie, I bring this kid in. This is a movie. This is me just spitballing. And I bring a kid in. And I'm the old, wise intel guy. And in this movie, I'm talking to this kid. I'm trying to help him out. I'm going to say, you don't understand the way things work. I don't work for any group. I don't work for any named group. I don't work, okay? I don't. You'll never find out where I work. I don't get paid by somebody you would know. I don't have a parking space. But I'm very much involved in this, and I can tell you some stories. But I don't work for a name. I don't have a named group. You got that? Good. And most of the stuff that's done is done without any idea of who's in charge of what. There is no accountability. There is none. We don't work in teams. We don't have divisions. We don't have pins and discussions and badges and all that other kind of stuff. We don't work that way. But we got things done. But here's my story. I'm going to say, all right, kid, I'm going to tell you a story that, and if you told anybody else, you can tell anybody because nobody's going to believe you. Remember what McLuhan said, that big lies are very easy to keep secret because of incredulity, because you're not going to believe it. For the past 30, 40, 50 years, I have been spraying day and night nanoparticulate information, and I have basically made people basically metallic transistors. They're walking around and they're antennae. They're just ready to, you done. They have been breathing this stuff in forever. I then brought in these things called 5G. Nobody cares what it is. They think it's about their internet. They don't care. And I can, depending upon how I change things, I can affect how people who are basically walking around as transistors, I can affect by virtue of changing electromagnetic radiation, Wi-Fi stuff, I can affect the way they think. And I'm able to affect pineal glands. You love that one. The third eye, parietal lobe stuff, presence, responsibility, and the like. And I did it in front of everybody. And the reason why this is so important today, and the reason why is that nobody cares anything. What you are seeing in countries that are protesting and screaming and yelling, I didn't get to them. They obviously have not benefited from my dirty work. But in America, no one cares about anything. No one cares about anything. I can't say this enough to you, my friends. I cannot say this enough to you. Do you understand what I'm even remotely saying to you? I can't say this enough. And what I'm trying to say to you, perhaps difficult as it is that I can get away with murder today because the American public doesn't think. They don't care. You don't understand what I'm trying to say. Let me see if I can put this into perspective. Americans don't care. They don't. There's nothing about them that they're even remotely mildly interested in. And I don't know why. I think I do, because we've affected their ability to think, and we've affected their ability to care. Americans don't think. It's the most important thing in the world. They don't think. They don't care. And if they do care, it's just yelling and screaming. Now, what I just told you about chemicals, that's just pretend. I'm not suggesting that's at all possible. After all, why would governments or people want to spray day and night stratospheric aerosolized nanoparticulate material? I don't know. Stand by one more time for this very, very important message, because you know it's just around the corner, don't you? Let me tell you about my great friends at mypillow.com. Mypillow.com. And by the way, use promo code Lionel. Use promo code Lionel and receive a free gift. No purchase necessary. And yes, I realize that gifts are free. It's a tautology. Get over it. Sue me. So what are we talking about? How about Giza Dream bed sheets, My Pillow 2.0, sheets, slippers, percales, towels, quilts, bedspreads, mattresses, mattress covers, mattress toppers, linens, kitchen towels, bathrobes, name it. Items to luxuriate and relax. And don't forget, Christmas is just around the corner. And yes, it makes a great stocking stuffer, and it's fine for dad or grad. Made by the greatest company from the greatest people in the greatest country. Or call 800-645-4965 if you're OG, and see how quickly Mike Lindell answers the phone. 800-645-4965. But don't forget, only use promo code Lionel. That's mypillow.com. Promo code Lionel. Mypillow.com. Promo code Lionel. All right, my friends. We're going to be talking more about this. I'm going to be going into far greater detail on the private channel, because even now we can't. Do you know that ChatGPT came out, still will not let me put in the word Hamas? They will not allow me to put in the word Hamas. They just don't. It's just, we are going for a sense of absolute censorship, the likes of which we cannot believe. That's all I'm trying to tell you, dear friends. That's all I'm trying to tell you. So in the meantime, let me tell you this much. Keep thinking, keep focusing, and please be serious. Try to focus more. Be serious. Stop the nonsense. Focus, read, study, critically think. Nobody's going to do this for you. You are. Stop sending me YouTubes about this guy. I don't, it's nonsense. You think strategy, think tactic, think syntactic, think what it is that you have to do to understand, to better grasp this world. Remember, you don't know anything. I realize as much as I think I know, I don't know anything, but I do know the questions. And the questions that I have are better than most. Not the answers, the questions. 60 years ago today, our world changed. It was my first of red pill moment. It red pilled the world. Remember, Zapruder didn't come out until the 70s with Geraldo Rivera. People were, Mark Lane was before they did, they knew the Warren Commission was bullshit from the beginning. From the beginning. They knew this then. And they tried to make you sound stupid and crazy, and you're not. Listen very, very carefully, my friends. Listen very, very carefully. They killed our prince, our king, our leader, our son, our brother, our citizen. They killed him in front of everybody, and they wanted you to know exactly that. Now, I'm going to be having more individual videos during the day on my YouTube channel. Please, I invite you to watch and the like. And until then, dear friends, remember these very, very important words. The monkey's dead. The show's over. Suya. Try this.